Fyodor Yurchikhin, the crew that is arriving on board a little bit later, will be performing other AVAs. How they decide who performs the EVA is very hard, and it's very hard to prepare a person to perform the EVA, and it's very hard to measure and spread out the tasks between the crew members and the load between the crew members. Almost all our crew members from the Russian segment are going to be participating in spacewalks.
And then there are even perhaps a couple of U.S. segment spacewalks during this time as well.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I have just mentioned 5 Russian spacewalks, but there are also 3 American spacewalks that are planned from the USOS. Chris Cassidy and other crew members are planning for 3 spacewalks. How successful they are, I think that the number of the EVAs will depend on how successful they are, maybe 2 or 3, but we don't want to put too much pressure on the crew and give them time to work at a measured pace. And of course I will do all I can to support these EVAs. And it's great when you have a lot of tasks, when your timeline is full.
Over the course of the time that you're going to be in space, you'll be part of Expedition 35 and 36. That change occurs in mid-May, and at that point you will also become commander of the space station once again. How does that change life for you to go from flight engineer to commander?
Of course it will change. It's a higher level of responsibility. There are new tasks for the commander. Of course, the commander is in charge and is responsible for all crew members and for the station. And of course, there will be more trouble. But my responsibilities are set forth by the flight rules, and it's clearly spelled out what the commander and what the flight engineer are responsible for. I don't think it's going to be difficult. I love being in space. I enjoy being a flight engineer, and I am sure that I will enjoy being the commander too. Of course, it's a higher degree of responsibility, and you can definitely feel the weight of this responsibility on your shoulders. But I am sure in Chris Hadfield, we've known each other for a very long time, from the 90s, and we're not just colleagues, we are good friends. And I think it will be very easy for me to work with him.
Do you think it will be very different for you to command the station today as opposed to when you commanded Expedition 13?
Of course. It's a different station. Williams and I were finishing that sad period when there were only 2 crew members on board. Then we had Thomas Reiter join us, and there have been many missions with 3 crew members, and then the number was increased to 6 people. But when there are 2 crew members or 3 crew members, you can feel the difference. 6 people is a whole team. The psychological relations between the team members differ from when there are only 2 crew members on board, and of course, the commander has to take into consideration all the 6 crew members and to create a very good psychological atmosphere that will provide for no conflicts between the crew members. And this is one of the main goals for the commander, besides, of course, the technical tasks and providing for the safe operation of the station. The commander, I think, has to create in this small group of people a good environment, a good working climate. Because every crew member is an individual, and putting them together is the task for the commander.
These days, the International Space Station is receiving supplies from Earth on board a small fleet of unmanned cargo ships. And there are several of them that are due to arrive at or depart from the International Space Station during the time that you're going to be on board. Tell me about these different ships and their different capabilities, including the new American commercial ships that are joining the fun.
Our plans, as of right now, are to have a lot of vehicles arriving. ATV, the European spacecraft, HTV, the Japanese spacecraft is also scheduled. SpaceX as well, maybe Cygnus. We are ready to see them all. Each vehicle is interesting. Free flyers that cannot actively dock to the station, unlike the Russian vehicles, for example, Progress, are very interesting. It's very interesting to capture them near the station using the Canadian arm manipulator and to dock them. This task is just wonderful. Each vehicle has its own peculiarity. The ATV is a huge spacecraft, which is slightly smaller than our SM, the service module. It's a humongous vehicle, and the plan to dock it is very interesting. We have never had anything like that, and the plan for the docking is very complicated. As for the HTV, it can deliver not only cargo that is required inside the station, but also the items, the payloads that should be located outside the USOS. And the majority of the power supply system is located outside the USOS, and we have to provide items, spare parts for it. And I am pleased to see commercial vehicles as well, not just spacecrafts created by states, but by commercial companies, and they are made by by companies that work very efficiently, and that prove that space exploration and space cooperation is also possible on the commercial level. So, if everything goes according to plan, we will be excited about these rendezvous. And it's a very big event when a transportation vehicle arrives to the station. And I think it's going to be a very exciting mission. Something out of the ordinary will be almost a daily occurrence.
Can you pick what your
And I want to believe that our expedition will go smoothly. I think being able to see the station again and to see my colleagues on board, this is my greatest wish.
Of all the different kinds of things that you're going to do that you've described here today, and you think about those and the kinds of things that you can learn from science experiments or spacewalks or vehicle operations, what do you think it is that's most important that we are learning from the International Space Station that is going to help human beings get ready to explore space out beyond Earth?
Today, space exploration is very integrated into our everyday life. We often forget, or sometimes don't even know, that a lot of things on Earth came from space exploration programs. Beginning with our Velcro, that is ubiquitous in everyday life. They were actually created for the missions to the moon. And imagine if we didn't have them today, like if we didn't have Velcro. It is as if many, many years ago, the Egyptians would not have come up with the idea of a pencil. Piloted space exploration today gives a lot of new information for the medical field. We had to develop a whole complex, a whole comprehensive approach to recover after space flights. And this system that was developed by by American and Russian medical communities allows for recovering of people who just went through complicated surgeries or are seriously ill, and it can be used everywhere, in all hospitals in Russia and in the United States. And we are developing new methods and carrying out new research, and I can say that today we have a lot of developments from space medicine slowly trickle into the general medicine. And we're developing special suits that allow for moving after being in space.